I'd like to talk to you about some books today that I think you'll enjoy. But before I do that, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about reading. Reading is one of those things like sports that you get better at with practice, practice, practice. You start with the basics. Sometimes it may even feel a little boring, but pretty soon you're ready for pro-level work. I've got a handful of books I'd like to talk with you about today. The first of those books is called Rats. Yes, those little creatures. Rats by Paul Zindel opens with a man on a bulldozer at the Staten Island dump who hates rats more than anything. He tries killing them until one day the rats rebel. The rest you'll have to read for yourself. So if Rats isn't your cup of tea, you can go from gross to girly and try the Gossip Girl series. I know you'll say you've seen it on TV, but there's really nothing like going inside the head of these lovable youngsters from Manhattan's Upper East Side. I'm being sarcastic about the lovable part. Another book I'd like to suggest that you take a look at is Street Angel by Ron Batista. Street Angel tells the story of a young high school student in Brooklyn who's dealing with his anger after having been attacked on the subway. He goes to a party where something really terrible happens and has to make a dramatic choice about his future. Another book I'd like to really recommend is, or not just a book, but another series of books I'd like to recommend are the Demonatus series by Darren Shan. The series follows a very typical young English teenager who one morning wakes up to find his household under attack by demons. He soon learns his own secret history and discovers powers within himself that allow him to fight back. Another book that I'd really highly recommend is Crispin by Avi. This book is set in the 1300s, the Middle Ages. Gives you a chance to find out a little bit what life was like back then. It follows a hero whose mother has died in the book's opening pages. He's now an orphan and he has to survive in this very brutal time. And finally, of course, there's the books of Walter Dean Myers, and I can't recommend any more than any other. They're all very fine books. But I would tell you that if you haven't read Slam, you really ought to. Slam deals with a young man who's trying to keep his grades up so he can stay on the high school basketball team, but is being lured into negative behavior by his friends. There's a great scene at the end on a rooftop where he confronts his friend. I'd really recommend this book. So these are all books I'd really recommend you give a try to. These are all books that will make practicing reading fun. They're the kind of stories that will make you want to jump headfirst into the adventure of reading.